morning, guys. So today's going to be a bit more of a relaxed day in my very messy workroom. We're going to be doing two of the most asked questions, one of which is basically cleaning a hat, and the other is not really repairing, but kind of reshaping fedoras. I've got that question a whole lot. And a little bit of housekeeping. Thanks a lot for all of the likes and watches, and oh my gosh, I really was not expecting this. So I figured if we get 1,000 views, we can have more than 1,000 views. If we get 1,000 subscribers, I will give you a in-depth tour of my workroom and actually the rest of the house, so you get to see how really weird I actually am. But for today, let's just get started. Okay, so we're outside because this is gonna be dirty. So I got my gloves on, I got my mask on, and I have my two boar hair brushes. You can actually, believe it or not, get these at Sally's Beauty Supply instead of actually buying super duper expensive ones from the hat making companies. So, flip it over. And then, got one that's a hard and soft. We're going to be using all the above. So, we've got our really nice cowboy hat today. A couple of things that we're going to be doing, obviously getting all of this dust off. That's the main thing. I'm going to be using some saddle soap later here on the leather parts. And since this gentleman actually knows our leather friends, I'm going to talk to him about getting with them to be able to repair this part. So they can make me really gorgeous sweatband, and I can actually replace that if you would like. So we're going to start going to town. As you can see, it's really, really dusty. And I'm not being gentle about this. This is a really nice, sturdy, well-made hat. It's stiffened very, very well. It's slightly warped, so we have to fix that later. But you can see the difference. So the main objective is to get as much of the dust out as we can, because we don't want the steamer to hit that and turn it into sludge. So we might be here for a hot second. So I'm going to be doing this out here, and then I'll show you how to bend the broom back in shape. Okay, so we're back in the hat room, and you're going to be hearing the steamer going in the background. I got my canned air. What I'm going to do is just give it a good spritz, just to make sure I got the rest of the particulates off. You see, it looks a whole lot better. Get into the little spots that are hard to get. So what we're going to be doing is just something really quick and easy and straightforward. Right here we've got a little bit of asymmetry. We want to try and fix that. So that's why we got this up and running. As I've mentioned before, these guys are pretty pricey. If you just have a tea kettle on your stove, it's about the same amount of heat and hotness that you need. You can get these online if you are so inclined, if you're going to be doing a lot of this. Just be really, 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 really careful. They're hot. Steam is hot. Don't burn yourself. So, always the rule of thumb with felt is it needs to be hot and moist. Har har. So otherwise it won't do what you want it to do. Just want to get that kink out of there. receded a little bit. I'm gonna leave that on in the background. The one quick thing I'm gonna do. So I got my saddle soap here that I mentioned earlier. This you can get at a leather store, online, a saddle and tack store. It just cleans up leather nicely. So we'll just rub it in, rub it off. Nice. See if I can clean up a little bit of that snake skin without getting them scales off. So, here we go. Nice and clean. This is just for the leather. Keeps them nice and soft and supple. Gets all that dirt off. I think I'm actually even going to do just a little bit of the inside too, because it's been cracking a little. Leather likes moisture. If you're doing this a little bit more, things like lanolin would keep it nice and soft, as if I wanted to actually fully restore this and keep this hat band if it wasn't going to be worn. Clean up the saddles open, just let a little bit of lanolin soak in. But it definitely does need to be replaced. So we're going to set this hat aside. Alright, so we've got this lovely distressed hat. A lot of people have asked me how to reshape them. So what I'm going to do is actually get this shape out. I'm going to wet it first and not just kind of punch a hole through it to really destroy it. But what I want to do is get that shape out of it. I'm actually going to steam the shape out of it. And the other thing that I can actually show you something quick, it takes a lot more practice. I do not exactly have a dap hand at it. Is to show you how to repair those holes. Oh, shoosh. My steamer's mad at me. So, just trying to misshapen this for you. I'll pull on it. You can see that it really wants to keep that crease there. So if you just have a oval of a hat and you want it to get back into shape. So we're going to leave this misshapen. So you got those holes there. I'm going to use purple, that way you can see what I'm doing. So, got my needle felting. Got my foam pad. I've got my different size needles. And got my felt or roving. So, put the pad in the back of it. I might even leave the purple in here because I think it's fun. Basically, I am creating a patch as best as I can. This will take a very, 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 very long time. This is also not the type of felt I would be normally using to repair it, but I wanted a nice stark example. So as you can see, pull that away. starting to repair the hole a little bit there. It stays put. So if you wanted to have fun and you had some holes in an old hat, you can get some of this at a hobby store. You can also use like yarn, if you pull it apart into like little bits and kind of tear it apart and get it all like that. Just have fun. You can make little shapes, you can make flowers. There's lots of books and tutorials on this. It's called needle felting. We're gonna put him back on the steamer. So, you wanna reshape your hat. You have to get this really, really hot. And I mean really hot. So, if you got your tea kettle or your steamer, you keep moving it around. It's gonna hurt to touch it, basically. So just keep moving it around. Just say you're starting with your dome shape. Let's actually dome shape this, one sec. You can tell I think ahead. Misshaping it. Here we go. So, a dome shape. It's the reason why I say I'm scatterbrained. Okay, let's cool down really fast. Wet steam, wet steam, wet steam. You want this very, very hot. I will keep saying that. So let's just say you're starting with a dome shape, or you have your shape that somebody messed up. So your first is this. You can see what I'm doing with my hands. My little karate chop down here. Just kind of pull it forward. See the shape it's making? Now my hat cooled down, so I'll go back on the steam. See, we're starting to get that shape. It's hot. This is where you hold the front of your hat, so nice bit of please do to your hats. If you have fedoras, don't pick them up by the brim. Pick them up from here. That's why you got that pinch. You can even it out. Just work with it with your hands. Push it. Just keep working on it. A little lopsided. So I'm just gonna keep moving around. Once it starts to cool down, it has to go back on the steam again. If it cools down, it's gonna just bloop at you. Back on the steam. If you notice the steam not coming through as much, just grab your water bottle, spray. You see how easy that is? Just it's so hot, it just wants to go where you push it. You can make this as deep or as shallow as you want. Just keep pinching. You can go around. You can make different shapes on this. Like I can even peek it out if I wanted to. Roll it back in and just make a classic fedora shape. You can have fun with this. You can also, our brim, you can't quite tell since I'm covering it. I'm actually leaning on this. You can see it come through. It doesn't like when I do that, but lean on it, get it nice and hot. Nice and malleable. It is very soft. This has actually been pre-stiffened with our shellac. You can see I just pull on it. I can even roll it a little bit if I want to. Just try and fix that bend, or I can lay it flat and just push down on it, make it nice and flat. Also, if I grab it here and it's nice and hot and I pinch it and pull, it'll actually pull the brim out. You can only do that to a certain point. That's because what you're doing there is pulling apart the fibers. You make it thinner, so if you keep doing it, you'll eventually get a hole. But like, you can actually just pull on it, just straighten it out a little bit. So that is how you reshape your fedora. Okay, things used today. We've got our brushes, we've got our spray bottle, we've got our tea kettle or steamer, some wash rags, and I also used some canned air, because that's really, really handy. If you wanted to know more about the needle felting, there are whole communities dedicated to that, and it's really, really fun, and there are people who do full needle felting hats and things like that. That is not my area of expertise, so if you want to have any of those questions answered, I'm not the person to ask. So for our brushes, we have the two different types, technically three, because I've got my medium, coarse, and soft. I did get these at a Sally's Beauty Supply. They're about $5 or so, so they're not terribly expensive. If you were to buy them at like online at like hat making stores and things like that, they are more specialized brushes and they tend to be more expensive. These are pretty much the same deal. They're all boar's hair brushes. So that's what we'll be using. At least that's what I use. So in the future, we're going to be doing a full fedora tutorial, both a rolled brim and a flat brim. And my least favorite hat, and I'll explain in the video why, are the flat caps. So we are trying to get the videos out more often, but I've got only so much time in a day. So we'll be seeing you guys sooner rather than later, I hope. Bye guys!